Illuminati.
I just want to shake some sense into you kids.
And we're back. It is, well, it's not Monday.
No.
I was asleep on Monday. Angry and asleep.
Angry.
I was awake.
As both appropriate for Mondays.
Yes.
It is I, your pal, J.Ishiro Finney, author and alien in a human suit, just giving you advice that, you know what, if you see any reptoid pedos, groomers, they glow in the dark, and you see them in your car, you can run them right over.
Run them right over.
Sounds correct.
Ah.
Now, how big of a stain will they leave? Or do you get points for that?
Hey, just go through the car wash.
Okay, let's post about this on Twitter now that I'm back on Twitter.
Okay.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I just went back. I finally have welcomed myself back into the madhouse.
I posted about this show on Twitter. So
I've spent 3 days shit posting on Twitter. Just whatever, having fun.
I just left Twitter again because I was just like, I can't.
yeah, I have a love-hate with Twitter, and they've pulled me back in so that I can promote Boobs of Steel.
When I saw all the stupid that's been going on with Marvel again, I was like, nope, and I got rid of the app on my phone.
I blocked Marvel and DC, and I've been on a blocking spree, right? I found out that Sony and Xbox have like 50 alt accounts. I mean, I would block PlayStation, and then PlayStation US would show up. I'd block that, then it'd be PlayStation Live. I'd block that, then it'd be PlayStation Gaming. These are all official verified accounts. I spent 2 hours blocking PlayStation and Xbox to the point where they were sending me shit in like Swahili. And I was like, how the fuck do I get rid of these assholes? I don't care about your crappy new game. It's like, for fuck's sake. And you said you like gaming. I like gaming. I don't like console crap.
Paper and dice here.
Yep, at the most PC.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, I'm saying click, 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 click. And then it starts just giving me randos talking about PlayStation games. It's like, what, did their fucking checks clear today? And then everybody's like, oh, this submarine had Starlink on it. Could its failure? It's like, oh, fuck. The only thing that penetrates water is ELF. And what, is Elon Musk supposed to put on a fucking cape, fly out the window, and rescue him? Jesus fucking Christ. It's like, if it failed down there and they haven't heard from them and it's been like 24 hours, more than likely it imploded and they were dead in seconds. Actually, split second.
Yeah.
And then, somebody's like, oh, it used a Logitech controller. And everybody was like, okay, that shit's funny. And some dude pops up, I used to design military vehicles, and it's blah, 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 blah. If you see a civilian thing on it, it doesn't work. I was like, I've driven the military vehicles you designed. If it has a civilian part on it, it probably works.
I kind of liked the fact that when Lockheed built the Raptor, they made a point of saying, yes, just about most of the electronics in here can be replaced with civilian parts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Specifically from the gaming industry.
Oh, yeah.
That's how my dad, engineered 90% of his gear. Was he'd just go to, when it was still around, he'd go down to Radio Shack and get off the shelf parts.
You could swap out graphics cards in the Raptor and literally upgrade along with the games.
Oh, shit.
A lot of the onboard computers on the shit that he made in the last 10 years of his career, they were all iPhones.
I mean, nothing was worse than proprietary shit. I shit you not. At one time, there was 12 sites in the military that needed a specific wrench. And we only had one wrench. So we would FedEx it to each other because there was only one wrench. And you couldn't get this wrench anywhere else. And it was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. It's like, hey, can we have a new wrench? No. But the officers are going to throw a party. God damn it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
fuck at that point. I'd be like, okay, get me some clay and something hot enough to fire it, and I will make a fucking mold.
It's like, great, it's beryllium bronze, fucking nice. Like, I could replicate that shit. I need a fucking smithy. I actually tried. I actually fucking did a clay mold of it, and because we had a forge up at the fucking Wild Welfare and Recreation Center, and my CEO was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm researching beryllium bronze," and he's like, "If you remake that fucking wrench, I will beat you to death." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Because if it fails, I'm going to jail."
Oh,
okay.
Jesus.
I'm just sitting here thinking, like, this is really our taxpayer money at work.
Yes.
One fucking wrench. Jesus.
Yes,
One
it is.
wrench.
Well, since we're talking about our taxpayer money going to stupid places.
Yes.
All
this.
What? I'm on the back porch making a cigarette.
All this talk about UFOs. Listen to me, because I'm a gray motherfucker. I know what we're talking about, and they're full of shit. All this crap they're saying right now, and here's why. Because you know that big video they released about the Nimitz video?
Yeah.
Now the Nimitz event did happen. That really did happen.
We actually had friends who were on the Nimitz when it happened.
And it was really bizarre to hear something that we knew about in 2004 suddenly being national news.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Could you guys refresh my memory on the Nimitz incident?
The flying Tic Tac.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
But the group that ATIP that exposed it, supposedly, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you do enough digging, that program got greenlit in 2008 by Obama.
Mm-hmm.
And it was $22 million that was eventually, after a long chain of events, was going to basically set up a paranormal Disneyland at Skinwalker Ranch as a tourist attraction that would then send money back to Harry Reid's campaign fund.
Yes.
No.
Yes, Obama canceled the Raptor, which is an amazing plane, but gave money to that piece of shit.
Yeah. Also, ATIP doesn't exist. It was actually under a different acronym.
And they had it under a different acronym because they didn't want to admit to the Pentagon that part of the money was going to research werewolves.
Yeah.
And I'm not making this up.
No.
I can believe it. I can believe it.
And dinosaur beavers.
And dinosaur beavers.
$22 million.
Dinosaur beavers? That's a new one for me.
$22 million.
They were claiming at Skinwalker Ranch that there were dino beavers.
Yeah.
$22 million is nothing.
I know. It's not.
I mean, I had forklifts that cost the U.S. taxpayer $2 million.
But
of course, the big one had three V12 inline engines and could lift 100 tons.
Dude, can I go joyriding on that? That sounds awesome.
God. We used to all the time. I mean, the tires were so big, I had to get a running start to jump up and grab the top.
Dude, that's like the big power lifters that they use for the space shuttle.
Yeah.
George says that he got Behold Humanity and is a fourth through it.
Awesome.
Yay. Glad you're enjoying it.
And Wolf says they will never learn the secrets of his people.
Oh, man.
Well, now that we've got 22 people in the audience, let's bring up the news, and then we'll just move on to other stuff. And the news is, where is it? Now available for pre-order. Boobs of Steel.
I love that cover.
Yay.
Link in the description. Now, Kat, do the honors of reading this press release I've written up today.
If you've read comics, played video games, love sci-fi and fantasy, or just simply have been paying attention, you may have noticed the Rainbow Mafia hates women, especially those with bountiful cup sizes. And if that busty woman is portrayed as heroic, they'll hate her even more. We've all heard the complaints. Lara Croft's boobs objectify women. Oh my God, Power Girl's cleavage is offensive. Well, anime girls are fascist, patriarchal, blah, blah, blah. What if I told you cancel culture's war against beauty, femininity, and especially breasts can be traced all the way back to 1954 when psychologist and avid Marxist Dr. Frederick Wortham published Seduction of the Innocent, the book that nearly destroyed the American comics industry? It's true. In a chapter entitled Bumps and Bulges, yes, he really did entitle it that. I thought that was a joke.
Nope.
Now, Wortham wrote, the ultra-bosomy girls depicted as ideal in comic book stories and the countless breasts and figure advertisements make young girls genuinely worried long before the time of puberty. These very young girls become entrapped by the sex appeal of comic book pictures and the emotional appeal of their advertisements. Guess what else Wortham did? Accused anyone who disagreed with him of being a fascist. Sound familiar? It should. The woke warriors of today are pulling directly from Wortham's playbook as they censor artwork, destroy careers, and reboot, retconned, or simply wiped from existence our modern mythologies. In the Boobs of Steel series, author J.Ishiro exposes the decades-long war leftists have been waging against feminine curves and especially busty heroines in the name of diversity, inclusion, and equity. For instance, did you know the United Nations officially banned Wonder Woman in 2016 because of her bra size? The erasure of the busty tomboy archetype is because of the transgender lobby. The She-Ra reboot was tailored to make children question their gender. All this and more are revealed in the Boobs of Steel series. But it's not enough to merely expose what's happening within our media. To understand today's culture war, we must also know what's been stolen from us. Boobs of Steel Part 1 explores the past, present, and possible future of the Amazonian archetype. You'll learn where the myth of the warrior woman comes from, why she's important to us, and how she forms the basis for every action heroine today. It'll also teach you why the Rainbow Brigade is dead wrong when they scream, "That's offensive!" and point out old school Laura Croft's tits. So suit up and strap in. It's gonna be a fun ride.
Well, there you go. Now, how can you say no to that?
You want to know something funny? Every lesbian I know hates this shit of getting rid of the good-looking women. They absolutely hate it. They're like, great, I gotta look at potato face Mick fucking lumpy body. Where's my fucking big tits?
Well, they lost all their jerk material.
Well, you know the people that do the most revealing outfits on Nexus are all lesbians.
That doesn't shock me.
No.
So
I mean, oh, we're doing it for you. Well, I didn't ask you to do it, but I'm doing it for you. I didn't ask you to.
Undead Quinn says that they gave Power Girl a jacket to cover up her booby hole.
again, yeah.
I remember when she went Atlantean and they kind of turned the booby hole from a circle to a diamond. It was just a little bit smaller, but you could still see under boob. That was after a crisis, the first crisis. They changed her background. Yeah, and she became an Atlantean instead. And she had some sort of weird immaculate pregnancy or some shit.
As that happens in comics quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fucking
look
weird.
at Avengers 200.
Oh God, don't get me started on the Carol Danvers rant.
Destroyer 45 not in this one, but in a future edition, which is already written. I do get into a little bit about John Money, but it's more focused specifically on the woman who did the She-Ra reboot. I focus on Adventure Time and a few other creators who specifically were making the shit to brainwash kids. Full on admit it.
Oh, yeah.
Buddy Smith wants me to rant on Carol Danvers. Maybe another time, because tonight we're focusing on Boobs of Steel.
Carl Manvers.
Oh, fucking A.
They got rid of her breast.
That new one too.
They got rid of her breast to the point where she had bigger pectoral muscles than Captain America. She didn't have breasts. She had pectoral muscles.
They also gave her a jawline that belonged to James Bond and a nice little Adam's apple, too. They were seriously trying to covert change her into a dude.
Oh, yeah. You could have used her jaw for an anvil.
I forgot.
I mean,
Steve wanted me to mention this on the show because
Okay.
he's a sick motherfucker.
what?
So we were talking tonight about not the travesty. I should say we were mocking Marvel for the whole Tony Stark Emma Frost wedding that's coming up.
Oh shit! We knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm not going to go into that tonight. I'm avoiding all that, but just my husband and his sick sense of humor. And then he said, you need to say this on the show tonight. And I was like, oh, Christ. All right. So we started talking about the dumbass polyamorous relationship between Jean, Scott, Logan, and Emma. And then Steve, my wonderful husband, whose mind goes into the gutter very often, says, you know, Logan has a healing factor, so that means he's permanently unsupersized. So he's been giving Scott the uncircumcised snicked.
Wow.
And I was like, shut the fuck up, you're evil, please stop. And he's like, please tell everybody on the show tonight. So there you guys go, you're traumatized too.
Wait a minute. She was in a polyamorous relationship with Scott and Wolverine, and now she's marrying Tony Stark?
So Jean and Scott got back together because
Of course they did.
Well, yeah, because the fans were sick and tired. Nobody liked the whole Emma Frost with Scott, except for the stupid fucking millennials and the Tumblr people, and that's Grant Morrison's fault. But then they were like, let's go fan fiction-y and also have, Scott and Jean be in a polyamorous relationship with Logan. It was like, let's step it up a notch and have Emma in the mix too. So the four of them were bumping uglies.
Okay, but how did Tony end up with, of all people, Scott sloppy seconds?
I don't know. I took Ishi's advice and started ignoring X-Men, and then people started telling me about horrible shit. So, I did tell Kat that I read the interview. I did. I was so fascinated. You know why they were? By the way, this is going to make everybody happy. I told Kat about this. This story is being written by the same dumbass that wrote X-Men Green.
Yeah.
And you want to know why they paired them together in this person's opinion? Because
Why?
they are both rich, staunch capitalists.
Oh my God. So personalities and ethos and ethics and morals have nothing to... These people aren't human beings. They don't know human beings.
No, they don't. They do not.
And then the icing on the cake, ladies and gentlemen, is that Scarlet Witch and Loki are now bumping uglies too. The guy that tried to kill her and her close friends. Thousands of times over.
Why nobody's put a bullet in the back of the Scarlet Witch's head yet, I don't know.
They did, but they brought her back because feminism. She was brought back around the same time all this stupid shit started happening in Marvel, where they decided that Carol Danvers was now Captain Marvel, and they were completely erasing her history because of the rape story. Yep. And while I understand wanting to get rid of that, they got rid of everything else, like the whole binary story and everything. I
watched the Captain Marvel movie, right? Pray for me. But
I did.
I noticed something. Her big superpower was getting back up to her feet, right? Well, a little bit later, I watched Captain America. Well, I watched my daughter loves the MCU, and we watched. She hates Captain Marvel, but we watched the whole thing, and I noticed that one of Captain America's big thing is he gets back up to his feet and goes, "I can do this all day," right? Because usually somebody just put a fist in his eye. But when they show Carol Danvers, she fell down on the obstacle course. Big deal. I did too. And she got to her feet. She tripped playing baseball. Well, so has every other child. And she gets back up. Okay, she got back up. There wasn't any real challenge to getting back up. She just had to not lay there and cry. What they were trying to do was they were trying to equate her standing back up onto her feet, because apparently if you're a woman, it's very difficult to defy gravity and get to your feet because gravity was invented by a man. And they're trying to equate it with good old Captain America going, "I can do this all day." And it's one thing for her to trip and I tripped and landed on the ground when I was trying to climb a rope, to Captain America getting punched in the face by Iron Man and then standing back up and spitting blood out and going, "I can do this all day." There's a big difference. And it struck me that the people who wrote Captain Marvel Number one, they did my girl ugly. Okay, Captain Marvel used to be a good character.
Yeah.
No, the three of us, I think we all agreed before that. Yeah, Carol Danvers, old school Carol Danvers, fucking great.
And Brie Larson poisoned that movie. The way she acted poisoned that movie. Okay, and for someone who played in a film where her whole fucking role was she was a failure to launch who looked like the Teletubbies jerked off on her face, I don't know why they picked her. She's a terrible actress. She's awful.
I can tell you why. Because her vaginal muscles are fucking amazing. Because she must have had Kevin Feige coming a lot.
I don't think it's her vag. I think it's her everything.
I mean, holy shit.
Although, she recently came out and said, yeah, the reason why my acting sucked in that last film was because of Trump.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Tell, please tell.
I just, it blipped on me on Twitter today that she's blaming the fact that her acting is full of shit is on the fact that there's Trump in the world.
Well, she's in the world and I still wash the dishes. For fuck's sake,
By the way, I do have to disagree with you, Raltz, on her superpower is getting up. I thought her superpower was cheating. She cheated or what? Remember, she would cheat to win in the movie.
Yeah, I know, but they showed this. They did this big montage where she stands back up on her feet, and everything she stood up on her feet from was nothing. Watch that montage; it's nothing. Oh, some pilots made fun of her. Big fucking deal. Okay, you can tell she's a fucking officer. You can tell she's an officer and a pilot, and from the Air Force because she can't handle fucking a little bit of banter. You know, oh, I slipped and fell climbing the rope at the obstacle course. Well, so do half the people who do it. Fucking I did it. It was raining out, and I fucking slipped and landed on my back. And the guy kicked me in the hip and went, "Get back up, dipshit." Everybody gets back up. Everybody trips and falls. It's not a fucking superpower. Okay, it's a superpower if you're getting your ass kicked and get back to your feet. I mean, if Iron Man punched me in the face, I'd be like, "Can I go home now? I'm done."
Well, shit,
I'm ready to go home.
She couldn't handle the rope. Then how the fuck was she going to enter winter survival school?
Yeah.
Every pilot has to do that.
Cool school.
Yeah.
How was she going to handle G-force training
if
she couldn't get on the fucking rope?
Well, it's because they were like, "Oh, this is girl power showing her getting up." No, it's not. No. It's what everybody does. I mean, if you want to show me girl power, I don't know, show she dislocates her knee and still makes it to the end of the fucking run. You know, we actually had that happen to it. We actually had that happen to a woman in my company. She dislocated her knee about mile 1, and she got back up and hobbled the rest of the way, and made it by 2 seconds.
Wow,
good for her.
She was like, "I am not retaking this test."
Neo Star, Samuel Jackson's getting his karma because Secret Invasion is a ginormous fucking failure. Remember, he's pointing out that Samuel Jackson called all the critics of Captain Marvel incels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, his show is a pile of shit.
He has a show?
Yeah, Secret Invasion. They did the stupid Secret Invasion storyline.
Didn't even know it.
Yeah, I just recently
I just recently found out too.
Didn't even know. Don't care. I mean,
exactly. Don't give a fuck. You know, Samuel lost his cred a long ass time ago.
Like, oh, that's a thing. Okay.
When he actually approved where the toughest motherfucker in the Marvel universe lost his eye to a cat.
The fact they fucking rewrote that, because if you watch Winter Soldier, you can tell he lost his fucking eye to shrapnel.
Yes.
There is a scar across the eyeball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did he say? He said, "I lost this eye the last time I trusted somebody."
Yep.
What, he trusted the cat?
They changed the scars on his face to claw marks instead of a shrapnel explosion wound.
Yeah.
It was fucking stupid. And by the way, I actually am reveling in all this failure. I am glad that Flash failed. Like, I mean, I finally have embraced the fucking black pill and all of that. Or I shouldn't say black pill. I've embraced the shit show and I love it. And I wish I was a fantastic shit poster, but I'm not, because I would be on Twitter shit posting, watching these people cry with glee. The only thing that makes me sad about The Flash is Michael Keaton. Like, he's in that movie for most of it. They should have given Michael Keaton Batman Beyond.
He got a paycheck, you know. I don't feel bad for him because you can tell he's laughing all the way to the bank. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll be in your stupid movie. I'll take your money.
And you know, why would I go see The Flash? The Flash is good in the cartoons.
Yeah.
I tried watching the show. The show boils down to run faster, Barry.
Yeah.
The first 2 seasons of The Flash I liked. After that, I'm like, okay, this is a whiny romance show, and all the villains are other speedsters instead of, the rogues gallery.
Yeah.
I mean, does anybody remember when Mirror Master snorted up all the coke off the table that the rogues gallery was snorting because he transferred himself into the mirror so his reflection would snort it all up? That was one of the funniest things I ever saw in comics.
No,
he was pissed that he wasn't getting as much coke as everybody else, so he transferred himself into the mirror dimension and snorted up all that cocaine.
What story is that in?
I can't remember, but it's the funniest shit.
I need that to go with my New Guardians with the cocaine monster that
I know what you're talking about.
And Snow Flame and Hemogoblin.
Mirror Master damn near took out the Justice League.
Damn.
He came close. And he did it by he managed to get into the Batcave, and he downloaded Batman's plans on how to deal with the Justice League members if they went rogue, got back out, and implemented them.
Cool.
Oh, damn.
Simple.
I need to find that issue.
Yeah. It's not an issue. It's not an issue. It's one of the animated ones.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
DC, it's really weird. DC animated are fucking great.
I agree.
Yes.
DC animated are great. And as soon as they do live action, it sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say 2 caveats. 1978 Superman with Christopher Reeve and 1989 Batman with Michael Keaton, I thought were very good.
I hated 89 with Keaton because
oh
God, it was so terrible.
Oh.
I remember watching it and going, this is complete garbage.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
What specifically didn't hit for you?
Let's see. I didn't like the Joker's makeup, and I thought he was a piss poor Joker. I didn't like all the fucking campy bullshit. I didn't like the end fight scene. I couldn't buy Michael Keaton as Batman. I couldn't buy him as Bruce Wayne. I thought the story was dumb. I mean, it was a basic bullshit Joker one. I mean, it's basic Joker 101. It's like, congratulations, bitch. You walked by a Batman comic once. The choreography was shit. I mean, the only one worse was the follow-up movies.
Oh, are you talking about the Joel Schumacher movies where it got really fucking cartoony? Because I also thought Batman Returns was pretty good, too. Mm-hmm. I liked Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman.
The problem with that was that it was 2 films crammed into one.
Yeah.
I didn't like any of the Batman films up until about when Nolan took over, and then they were acceptable. I will take that back. The recent Batman with Footface, what's his name?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. I actually like that.
Really?
I could not do that because I did not like the Riddler being the Zodiac killer. That really pissed me off.
I liked it because to me it was his early attempt, and if you look at it, he actually won. He outsmarted Batman. You never see that. Batman completely missed the charges on the retaining walls. He didn't pay attention. He didn't pay attention to the clues. He missed the fucking charges went off. The Riddler won. And you don't see that.
If it's a young Batman who's inexperienced, that works.
Yes, it was a young Batman, and he relied more on detective work than anything else.
Okay, that does make me happy because the trailers made it seem like he was all about just being a fucking juggernaut and just, just walking through people and getting punched and getting shot. And I'm like, that doesn't I mean, even though he's young, that just doesn't look right.
See, I thought it was another iteration of
No.
Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. I'm just
Nope.
like, fuck,
Okay,
I've seen this way too much.
He took that
Question.
shotgun blast to the chest and lay there for like 10 seconds gasping.
Oh, wow.
Question.
What?
What is it that makes your standard for Batman very specific and very high?
I read the early Batmans because I was very lucky. I had relatives who had tattered old copies of Batman and Superman and everything. And he was more of a detective up until the late 80s, early 90s, when that's what he turned into Super Juggernaut. But even then, he's still been all about the detective work. And the Batmans depicted in the majority of the early movies were dumbass. They were retards. They were stupid. They were absolutely brain dead morons. And the actors were terrible. George Clooney, terrible fucking Batman. I could buy him as Bruce Wayne, but I couldn't buy him as Batman.
You know, he only took that movie as a paycheck, and he said in an interview, "Yeah, I purposely played Bruce Wayne as gay."
Yeah, and I didn't like the way the villains were depicted. I thought Jim Carrey was the worst Riddler out there, and I didn't really like Jim
Very
Carrey at the
much
time.
so.
No, I agree. That was awful.
Somebody should have taken a bat to Jim Carrey.
Mhm.
And I didn't like Schwarzenegger's
That
Mr.
was
Freeze.
pain.
That was also a paycheck.
No, Mr. Freeze should have been Lance fucking Hendrickson.
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't like Robin.
No.
I really
Agreed.
didn't like Batgirl. Batgirl got on my fucking nerves.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Casting Alicia Silverstone as Barbara Gordon was a
That was
fucking
awful.
insult. I hated that.
I mean, I really did not like the early Batman movies because if you actually sit down and look at them, if you look at them from a writer's point of view, they're total trash. If you look at them from a casting point of view, they're just grabbing the flavor of the month actors. If you look at it from how intelligent is Batman, well, apparently he suffered a severe head wound and is a borderline mongoloid. I mean, he's stupid. He relies too much on his gimmicks. He can't see a plot that a toddler can get. I didn't like them because it was Batman has cool gadgets and beats up bad guys and has brain damage. At least Batman in the Nolan flicks, at least he tried to solve crimes using, intelligence. And yeah, he had all the cool shit. He had all the fucking gadgets, but at least he pretended that he could read.
Yeah, but Keaton's Batman did the same in the first movie. He actually did research and was doing detective work and even used.
And what's the first thing he did when he met a blonde with big tits?
What Bruce Wayne always does.
He took her back to the Batcave and said, "I'm Batman."
That, I agree, was stupid. He could have given her everything, meeting her in an alleyway. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. But he actually did do hardcore detective work in that movie. I'm sorry, I'm going to defend Keaton. I actually
Tim
liked Keaton.
Basinger was a really bad choice for that role.
And I'll admit, I've never really liked. Everybody loves Michael Keaton. I've never really liked him. I've never really liked him as an actor. I've never really liked his parts. I've never liked his acting ability. I don't know. Everybody else is like, "Oh, Michael Keaton's the greatest." And why?
I would not say he was the greatest, but here's my take on the Burton Batman films. When I first saw them, I'm with you. I didn't really care for them. Especially in high school, I thought the first one was moronic. I thought it was very pretty looking, but that was about it. The second time around that I watched we watched it earlier this year.
Yeah.
We watched both of them, and I had a whole different take on them. One, I came to the conclusion that they were supposed to flow like fairy tales. They weren't Batman as a comic book character. It definitely was flowing more like a fairy tale. Logic didn't really make much sense in a lot of it. Like the Batwing getting shot down by a really, really big gun was kind of lame. But at the same time, what I think Burton was going for was he was playing real hard on the notion of the archetypes that each character fills and the whole idea of two identities and the struggle of two identities.
Tim Burton's an overrated hack. I'm going to say it. Tim Burton's an overrated hack, and he puts his wife in everything.
As long as
Well,
his wife
whoever
was
his
with him,
life
his film
partner is
stock.
at the time frame, because Lisa
Yeah.
Marie was in everything, and
Yeah.
then
Anything with
Helen
her in it
Bonham
other than
Carter.
once she hooked up with him, his films started getting real bad.
Oh, Helena
mean-
Bonham Carter.
No, the other one.
Lisa Marie.
Yeah.
I will admit, I did. Alice in Wonderland was okay. It was all right. It was better than I expected because it had Tim Burton attached.
Mhm.
It's just I didn't like, but I was also at the time I was very serious. I was a very serious person at the time. My humor circuitry had been removed, and I went to see a Batman film, and what I saw was just stupidity. I mean, it was such a disappointment. And then the Batman animated series came out, and I was like, okay, no, this is good. I like this. We used to come back.
I think that was the definitive Batman for an entire generation.
I was going to say Kevin Conway is the best Batman and always will be the best Batman. Period.
And nobody knew Mark Hamill was the Joker until Mask of the Phantasm came out.
Yeah.
Oh my
Nobody
God.
knew.
He shredded his voice permanently playing the Joker, though.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I didn't like, and the early Superman movies, Superman 1 was okay. Superman 2 was, but then you got to Superman 3.
Oh God. We don't talk about Superman 3.
And then Superman 4. And then you had the whole, they were going to have Nick Cage be Superman, and his powers came out of a can, and the suit would jump out of a can and attach to him. And it was going to be all about the psychology.
Are you fucking kidding me, Ralts?
No.
Oh my God.
And it was going to, the whole film was going to be, the whole film was going to be about, the duality, like it just said, the duality of a secret identity. When you shut the fuck up, Tim. Okay, go back to raw dogging your wife with Johnny Depp.
That was the entire theme of his universe, was dual identities.
Yeah. You know what? He just needs to go back to fucking raw dogging his wife with Johnny Depp, spit roasting her, and shut the fuck up. Okay. I mean, and then you had then you had Green Lantern.
Oh God.
Didn't see it.
Ryan Reynolds at least redeemed himself by getting Deadpool out there. And he even mocked the Green Lantern movies in Deadpool 1.
Mm-hmm.
He mocked it in two also when he shot himself in the back of his own head.
That's right.
Yeah.
But and there was a ton of superhero flops. I mean, there was a lot of them. And there was the Crow. The Crow was good. The first Crow was good. The second Crow was, I paid money for this.
Yeah. I actually fell asleep in the theater during the second Crow. I was so bored. And it sucked too, because I was a Power Rangers fan. And I was really excited that Tui Trang, she was the original Yellow Ranger, was in it.
My daughter walks by and goes, "There's only one crow."
Agreed.
She's right.
And superhero movies were, and everybody says, "Oh, it was Iron Man that made the difference." It was Iron Man that made the difference. No,
it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. No. It was Nolan.
Yes.
It was Nolan. Nolan made the difference. The Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy.
No,
I did like Batman Begins. Because I really liked how they showed that he would do something and he would fuck up and he'd learn from his mistakes. And I also liked that they didn't have him in the bat suit right away. He was literally wearing a balaclava and like a tracksuit.
And we didn't have to see his parents get murdered for the 50th fucking time.
No, we did
see,
not.
I loved those flashbacks instead of him getting advice from his father, showing when he fell into the cave and his father rescues him. And you see all these good things about his dad and what he learned from his dad, and really how much Thomas Wayne was such an important influence in his life. Yeah. And also you didn't see... Alfred was more, I don't want to say, he wasn't the father figure. He knew he could never be that, but he was more like the trusted mentor that he could, I can give you all my stuff and disappear for 10 years and you're not going to fuck me over.
No, when they said Robert Downey Jr. was going to be Iron Man, I busted up laughing. Because last time I heard of Robert Downey Jr., he was face down on the fucking pavement with the cops arresting him. And so, I watched that and I was like, holy shit.
I thought the last thing he was in was saying never go full retard.
No, you're right. It was. Iron Man.
Did it?
Yeah, that came out a year after Iron Man.
Okay. So see, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was a non-entity before Tropic Thunder, and Iron Man brought him back.
Yeah, that's true.
And Iron Man was surprisingly good.
Oh, I
I
really
love
liked
Iron
it.
Man.
I will even defend Iron Man 2. Now, I
agree.
won't defend Iron Man 3.
Never saw it.
No.
The
Iron
end of it
2?
is absolutely horrible, and Pepper needed
Yes.
slapped.
Yes, it
Pepper
is.
blames the armor on his PTSD. Not, hey, maybe you want to fucking set down the bottle and go to therapy. Oh, if you love me, you'll destroy the armor. I just saved the world, bitch.
I actually, my biggest bitch about Iron Man 2 is they did not allow Mickey Rourke to go all the way with
Oh,
Whiplash.
I loved his character. I
Yeah.
He
loved
was
his character.
fucking amazing,
No.
and there wasn't enough of
The
him.
problem with Iron Man 2 is we didn't get the actual film that was shot, and that it's sitting in a fucking
Man
vault at Disney that we'll never see.
Whiplash. Mickey Rooney.
Did you know that?
No.
Mickey
Wait, is
Rooney.
there more Mickey Rourke
sorry,
in it?
what?
Because he was
Mickey Rourke.
fucking great as Whiplash, and they didn't have enough of him.
There was a different cut that was not PG, and that it was about alcoholism and Tony fucking up big time on his alcoholism.
They were
Oh
playing
my
a
god!
lot with
Could have gotten
Demon
the
in a
demon in a
Bottle.
bottle storyline.
Yeah,
They could have done that
Oh.
instead of the
They did
lame
do
ass
that.
robots.
They did do that, and then
in fact, Robert Downey Jr. was insisting they do Demon in the Bottle.
and that film is sitting in a vault at Disney to never be released, apparently.
Do you know why I didn't like the
reason
second
Jon
half?
Favreau cast Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark
Yeah.
was because of his addictions.
Yes.
So that would have been a fantastic fucking movie.
Do you know why I
No.
didn't like the second half? Because the military would never buy a bunch of heavily armed robots like that when you saw it. It actually showed exactly why the military shouldn't buy robots like that. One fucking dude in the right place, and the robots are killing everybody.
Yeah.
But I mean, I will defend it because it was a decent movie. I'm gonna say it, and everybody's gonna be shocked. Guardians of the Galaxy was just okay. It wasn't that great.
I think Guardians of the Galaxy was basically what we all wanted out of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Farscape.
agree. I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy. I got a kick out of the soundtrack. I took it as they literally are the D-list characters of Marvel.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to be dumbasses.
The second one was blah. Although I did like the interaction between Nebula and her sister. That was okay.
I didn't see the second one.
Only the first one.
but
My
the
daughter
first
loves
one
the movies.
I thought was the closest thing we'll ever get to a Farscape movie.
The third one was actually, I'm not going to lie, guys, it was a pleasant surprise. They did a really good job lying about what the movie was going to be and putting out false information. So you go in, you're like, okay, this is going to be depressing as hell. And Steve and I actually walked out with dumbass grins on our faces,
Yeah.
like, wow.
Now, the Hulk movie was good. I didn't like when they recast the Hulk. I hate that actor.
Ruffalo's just a
Ruffalo's-
douchebag.
Well,
Yeah.
you know why they did it, though, is because Edward Norton is notorious for causing problems on sets and
Yes.
rewriting scripts. And he actually said Bruce Banner should be the leader of the Avengers, and Bruce Banner should be the one figuring out everything. And they were like, no, it's Tony Stark. It's based around Tony Stark. And he said, no, it needs to be based around me or I walk. And they said, bye, Felicia.
I understand that, but I wish they would have cast anybody but Mark Ruffalo.
I can't believe they cast the fucking weak-ass hippie vegan soy bitch.
I mean, and then he turns into Soy Hulk at the end.
Yeah,
That's not, dude, I don't
metrosexual
remember
Hulk.
Professor Hulk being that fucking pussy.
Gay?
He wasn't.
Yeah.
I remember
like-
I remember after the Gray Hulk, he got his mind back, and he was definitely a merge of Banner and the Hulk because he still had temper issues.
No, the
Although
Disney deal was nothing but bad.
I
for
have to say,
Marvel.
I still remember a comics panel that made me feel really bad for Betty Ross. I mean, really bad. The Hulk standing, the big green Hulk is standing there with a towel around his waist, and Betty Banner's laying in bed with a cigarette. And he's like, I'm going to go take a shower, and then I got to answer this call. And she's like, okay, come back soon. I'm thinking, my God, your cunt has to be blown out. Holy shit, lady. You're going to have to use a wheelchair.
No, babies will just fall out of her.
Oh, I
Well,
was like, God damn.
Didn't Betty Ross get the same treatment as Mary Jane did in the Peter Parker story where he was an old man? They both died of cancer because they both had irradiated semen.
Yes.
And then they brought her back as the Red She-Hulk.
I quit reading
What?
right after General Ross was killed and then brought back by the leader, and there was a big fucking thing going on, and I was like, God, this is getting, comic books are soap operas. And I was like, okay, this is just too much drama for me. I'm out.
You know what's sad about the Incredible Hulk movie that I really liked was their introduction of the leader. I got all excited because they picked a really great actor to play the leader, and then that never happened.
But yeah, and I didn't like the early Batman movies. It's weird that I like the one with Footface in it because I don't like him. Actually, no, I will take it back. He was okay in Water for Elephants. He was okay. Twilight soured a lot of people on him, but the kid's got what it takes, and he did the smart thing. He pulled back after Twilight and avoided things, and he started taking serious roles, drama roles, and kind of redeemed himself.
One of his first movies he did after Twilight was, I can't remember, the Cosmopolis. It was the Cronenberg film, David Cronenberg film, and that was the movie that broke him out of the top Twilight. What's it called? Typecasting.
Yeah.
You need to see him in the movie Rover.
Yes.
It is a Australian
It's a post-apocalyptic Australian film. There's been some sort of massive economic crash. It's slowly becoming Mad Max, and at the end of the day, what you're watching is a Western.
Yes.
I can look. Okay, I'll watch that.
Plays an
That
idiot
sounds good.
savant.
But I was also pretty serious at the time. I mean, I had a lot of shit going on, and I went to see Batman, not the Joker dancing to a Prince song.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, maybe if they would have taken it halfway seriously, it would have been, a decent movie. But the whole time it felt, I don't know. I mean, my wife was always like, it's a good movie, and it was mostly for kids. It wasn't really for, sour asses like you at the time. But the rest of the movies were trash.
Well, their Joker was still borrowing from the Adam West show.
Yeah.
And so he though he had some Jack Nicholson, darkness to him, he still had the Adam West whimsy, and that's a hard tightrope to walk.
I'm going to blow your childhood away. I found a little factoid. Do you remember Batman in the animated series, the Joker venom would get used and they'd have those big grins in their eyes? It'd be all huge.
Yeah.
They told the ratings board and the writers intended that the kids would know that they were still alive. That the Joker venom just, paralyzed you and gave you that big smile.
No, I've seen it as an adult. That is not what happened.
That is not.
Those guys are deader than
those guys are dead. Those guys are dead.
Yeah,
but
those
no,
guys are so
they were in
dead.
the ratings board thought that they were still alive.
Well, they just never mentioned it. Is what it is.
I actually read an interview. They were like, we got away with it because we told the ratings board that, it's a paralytic and makes them grin like that.
Well, just
it's not actually lethal.
How many people Batman chucks over a rooftop? You don't see them go splat.
I can't remember. I was watching some movie where they were throwing people against walls and shit. Every time somebody hit, I'd be like, dead, dead, dead. And if I see one more 90-pound actor or actress take a fucking corner of a fucking support beam to the lower back while being swung through midair, I'm going to fucking scream. Because if you're a normal human and somebody slams you like they're swinging a fucking baseball bat against a concrete pillar, your spine is fucked. You're not getting up.
No.
But no, they just hop, even though it crumbles the concrete, which apparently concrete in the movie universe is made of, I don't know, paper mache. It crumbles the fucking thing and shows the rebar, and they jump up to their feet. It's like, no, you're at the very least you just pissed blood, Lee. Or, look, dude, that erection you have, if it doesn't go down in 4 hours, it ain't never working again.
Long Leg Larry wants to know which Marvel characters do you feel were perfectly cast? We said Robert Downey Jr., right?
Iron Man.
I actually did like Chris Evans. He did
Yes, I
have the
did.
all-American look. He's a douche in real life, but he actually nailed Steve Rogers.
Does Patrick Stewart count?
Yeah, Patrick Stewart, yeah. Oh my god. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I think Hugh Jackman was perfect. He's just too tall.
I agree.
I know a lot of people who are like, no, Hugh Jackman was a terrible for Wolverine. He wasn't born for the role. I'm like,
all the original X-Men movies.
Oh yeah.
Were
oh my
perfectly
gosh.
cast.
Famke Janssen is Jean Grey. I just wish they would have made her hair more red instead of auburn.
I do not agree with Halle Berry. I'm sorry.
I did. Yeah. I could buy it. She did the coldly beautiful thing I've always associated with Storm.
See, I would have chosen Grace Jones.
Oh yeah,
but Grace Jones turned the role down is the problem.
Yes,
I wish
she did.
She hadn't have. Oh my God, could you imagine Grace Jones?
Can you imagine those teeth? People wouldn't have been afraid of her powers. They would have been afraid she'd bite them.
Yeah.
Oh, it would have been even better with that fight against Toad.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, but Grace Jones was the perfect Bond villainess. Grace Jones was an amazing Bond villain.
The first James Bond movie I ever saw, my dad took me when I was 6 years old to go see A View to a Kill, and I fell in love with Mayday.
That was
so good.
That whole shit with the poison butterfly on the fucking on the string at the opera, that was fucking genius. Another one that was well cast. I like the guy playing the Winter Soldier.
Sebastian Stan is great as Bucky.
Perfect.
I like Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher, but I also like Thomas Jane, but I also liked what's-his-face that did the most recent.
John Barenthal, I thought, nailed it very well. He nailed the PTSD part.
Yeah, I like Thomas Jane too.
I couldn't get into Thomas Jane. I tried. I think it's because I saw him in too many rom-coms before I did The Punisher, so I was like,
Well, I'm a guy, so I don't watch rom-coms.
I think that Marco Maztic here has a point that Gary Coleman would have been a great Juggernaut.
Actually, he would have made a great. Wait, Gary Coleman? You mean the midget? Yeah, he would have been a great Puck. I would have watched him as Puck.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
He would have been great.
Hey, speaking of little people, I actually liked Peter Dinklage as I'm brain farting on the guy's name. Yeah, the guy that created the Sentinels. Fuck.
Oh yeah.
I should know this guy's name. I've read these books how many times?
God damn it! I know. But yeah, that was an actual casting change-up.
Sorry.
I liked that change-up. I really liked that change-up.
Yeah, that was
the whole point. Was that the guy had they wrote it as the guy had a massive Napoleon complex, so he created the Sentinels.
Yeah.
That was perfect. And yes, I totally fanned out over. Oh crap! I had his name in my head like 2 seconds ago, and now it's gone. I
will say why the guy who
Ian McKellen is Magneto. Holy shit! Yeah. Why we mention him yet? Oh my fucking god!
The guy who
that any better?
The guy who did Cable was okay, but
Zola.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, I don't like the actor with the big fucking jaw that played Hellboy. I don't like him as a person because he's a fucking crazy piece of shit.
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman would have made a better Cable.
Oh, Zola. That was Toby Jones was cast as Armin Zola.
As Zola.
Yes. Okay.
That was like major fan service for me.
So early Marvel did their casting correctly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh God. Agent Smith as Red Skull.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'm going to take this way off topic.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a story from college.
Okay.
Now, this is one of the few creative writing classes I had in college, and we were given these assignments we had to do and turn them around by a week. And one assignment was that we had to write a story about a character who meets a celebrity in a weird place.
Oh, this story.
And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking about it like, okay, I know it all right. So I write this story about a guy who has a crappy job working nights at an PM mini mart, and nobody ever comes in, and his life is so boring, and all he does is watch old reruns on TV, on this little TV as in the gas station with him, and he just dreams, what if he had been able to go on an adventure with Magnum, or have some drinks and talk to Isaac on the Love Boat. He just once in his life, he would love to meet one of these amazing people he watches on TV. And then it happened. The door was kicked in and a gun was shoved in his face. And the guy said, "Look, motherfucker, empty the cash into the bag. Empty the cash." And the pistol whips him. And he looks up at the guy and he says, "What you talking about, Willis?"
Oh, God.
Very nice. Very nice.
Everyone, when I read that out loud to the class, everyone just gave me this look like something was severely wrong with me. And that's because San Francisco has no sense of humor.
No.
If you
would have read
remember
that in my class, I would have been on the floor laughing.
if you remember Machete, everybody knows who Machete is.
Yeah.
He actually had snuck on the lot. He talked about it in an interview. He snuck onto the lot to steal film equipment, and they mistook him for an extra.
Wow.
And that's how he got into movies. And I don't know if he was just bullshitting the guy or what, but I always thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah, Danny Trejo.
Yeah, he actually was a gangbanger.
Yeah.
Those are gang tattoos. So I wouldn't be surprised if he snuck onto the lot to steal shit and instead ended up an extra and now is a beloved character actor.
Yeah.
I have his autobiography. I haven't read it yet, but yeah, that's gonna be a wild ride.
From what I've heard, he's actually a very nice, chill person in his older age. And I know Robert Rodriguez loves him, and that's why he's cast him in so many things. I never saw Machete, which I'm really disappointed that I haven't.
I was really drunk, so I don't remember it. It's back when I
I've
was
heard
drinking.
it's fucking hysterical. I really want to see it.
I mean, movies have become a fucking wasteland, but it looks like it's turning around. The new Pixar movie is set to lose $300 million.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
What if elements have emotions, right?
Yeah.
What if elements have emotions and live in segregated cities? And it's about the epitome of
Fire
a rich
falls
white
in love
boy.
with water.
Yeah, a rich
Yeah.
white boy who is water falls in love with a first generation from an immigrant family, which is fire.
Does fire burn down the neighborhood?
Does
would be
water put her out? And then he just has to stand there and look at all the steam and go, "But I loved her."
So
It brings new meaning to cold water on the crotch, doesn't it?
Oh, God.
have any of you heard about the movie that's currently outselling pre-order sales tickets? Is beating the shit out of Dial of Destiny.
What?
There's this film that is an indie film called Sound of Freedom
Mm-hmm.
that apparently is getting all this buzz, and Hollywood apparently has tried to shit can it more than once, and it went indie. And it's entirely about this guy who apparently, I don't know, he was Homeland Security,
Yeah.
and he goes rogue and goes down to Central America and starts killing child traffickers.
Mm-hmm.
I
What's
can
the
live with
name of
that.
this movie?
It's,
Well,
Sound of Freedom.
you know why Hollywood doesn't like it? Because they watch that, and every time they see a pedophile get killed, they're like, "That could have been me."
There
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
another movie that came out recently that Hollywood tried to shit can. It had Sean Patrick Flannery in it as a guy on death row possessed by a demon. And he
Huh.
talks about like he knows who all the pedophiles in Hollywood and stuff are.
Oh, nice.
really.
Yeah,
gonna-
and Hollywood tried to memory hole that shit quick. Oh my gosh, that's Jim Cat. Oh, he played Christ in The Passions of Christ. He's a hardcore Catholic.
The
Oh, he's
fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen.
I think they can hear that. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, this
I-
film apparently is outselling the Dial of Destiny 3-1, and Disney's trying everything they can to try and sink this thing.
I hope that everybody that worked on the Dial of Destiny, their wives give birth to centipedes, and they spend the rest of their lives trying to earn enough money to buy shoes.
I would agree.
Oh, Jim Caviezel, that's his name. And yeah, he's a hardcore Catholic and played Jesus Christ in The Passion of the Christ.
And apparently Mira Sorvino's in this too.
Oh, good. I'm so pissed that when I found out, when everything came out, why she disappeared from Hollywood after doing so many amazing films.
She wouldn't fuck Weinstein.
Yeah.
He tried to rape her.
Yeah, that's why she vanished.
Yeah.
You know, I've always said, you know, what was it? Who was it? It was she was ugly and made no bones about it. She had dolls after. She had that fucked up laugh. She was in all Phyllis Diller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phyllis Diller once said that whenever she went to meet a producer, she always carried a set of brass knuckles.
Good for her.
And somebody asked her, and Johnny Carson asked her, "Did you ever use them?" And she goes, "Yeah, once."
Oh shit.
Wow.
Well, you know, she was the one that kind of broke the news on Michelle Obama's penis.
Phyllis Diller was fucking hilarious because she knew she knew that she did not age gracefully and she didn't care.
I love the fact it looked like she stuck her finger in a light socket. That was one of my favorite things about Phyllis Diller.
You know, she was actually immortalized in a marching cadence.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, it goes. The women in the army, they say they're mighty fine. They look like Phyllis Diller and walk like Frankenstein. Of course, that'd probably be lost on all the Zoomers in there now, but that shit was funny back when we used to say it.
Wait, Harble says that Shirley Temple famously pointed and laughed at a producer who flopped it out.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Shirley Temple was an American ambassador at one point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shirley Temple also got in trouble for including black actors in her movies.
Did she?
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She got all kinds of shit for it and was like, "I'm Shirley Temple."
She also got shit for being Republican, but
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. As much as this Sound of Freedom movie looks good, I think I'm not going to see it. It's going to hit a little too close to home for me as a parent. So you guys will have to tell me about it because I've watched movies like that before and I have to get up and walk out.
I'm gonna throw out a good thing to watch. I'm actually gonna stick up for Amazon. I watched The Terminal List a few months ago. It was actually pretty fucking good. Terminal List with Chris, I think it was Chris Pine.
Chris Hemsworth?
Chris Hemsworth. It was actually it's Chris Pine. It was one of the Chris's, but it was actually fucking good.
what's it about?
I don't want to spoil it. I'll just say it all starts off with a SEAL raid going bad.
Oh no, it's Chris Pratt. I have to watch it now.
Yeah, it's actually, I mean, I sat there and actually watched it. I was like, God damn, this is good. Because in the first part, you don't know if it's PTSD psychosis or not.
Oh.
So it's worth watching, and even the ending has got a good finish.
Oh shit! So Star-Lord and Gambit are in a movie together,
Yes.
or a show together.
Cool.
Okay, I have to watch it. By the way, I will say I actually did think Taylor Kitsch was a good cast for Gambit. The movie was just shit that he was in. But as a hardcore Gambit fan, I was more pissed that they recast him with Channing Tatum than keeping him.
Which one was he in?
He was in Wolverine Origins.
Oh God!
He showed
I blocked
up like
that out.
He showed up 20 years too early, but he had the walk down, the way that Remy talked, had all of. He had the cards and he used the staff, and I mean, he came off as a thief. I was like, shitty movie. Great casting though.
Wasn't that with Deadpool?
That was Ryan Reynolds' first iteration of Deadpool, which he also mocks in both those movies.
Oh my God, that was that. I saw that. I was like, what the fuck is this?
I hated that movie. Like I said, the only thing I liked was Taylor Kitsch, because that was the only bright spot in the movie, because Gambit acted like Gambit. I'm like, you guys have him in the fucking series 20 to 30 years too early. Why couldn't you put him in like X-Men 2 or 3? Yeah, that was horrible when they had Emma Frost show up and all she could do was, she was a teenager that turned into a diamond.
That was dumb as fuck.
And like Cyclops was discovered, and like his powers came from a migraine, and he blew up the school's bathroom, and so they captured him and they put all of their powers into Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah,
what
that was
the
awful.
fuck?
That was awful. I was like, I'd like my money back, except I didn't pay for this. I'd like the money I spent on electricity back.
I was sad that they didn't have. I like Liev Schreiber. He's a good actor, but I didn't like him as Victor Creed because I like the guy that came before him, the wrestler.
X-Men Origins was so bad that the fucking studio should pay you to pirate it.
Yes, I agree. That movie was awful. There were so many good characters they introduced too that they just shit all over, like the Blob and Silver Fox and Stryker.
The
By the
Blob
way,
was
Brian Cox was a fantastic William Stryker. I know he was a combo of Reverend William Stryker and General William Kincaid, but he did a fantastic fucking job.
Oh, and I'm going to stick up for the D&D movie. I watched it. I watched the D&D movie with my wife, and we had to pause it a couple times. We were laughing so hard. And some of it, you realize that if you imagine that behind the movie, there's a bunch of players. It moves it up. It even moves it up a notch because you can see where the fucking bard blows his roll on his escape artist.
Oh wait,
I mean,
Eloise. Oh wait, hold on, Eloise. What new law? There's like a shit ton of horrible laws being passed in California right now, and I can't leave. I can't. I am stuck until certain things happen.
California is terrible.
California's fucked. Like Steve and I were talking about it, and we love the state. We hate the people and the politics. California's gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
it's absolutely fucking paradise.
When it's not on fire and covered in hobo feces, it's beautiful.
Oh, well, get this. So the old neighborhood that we lived in before we had to move again was the most liberal neighborhood in the city of San Diego. And part of that was because we lived right next to SDSU. These people were the ones that had BLM flags and the pride flags and like all the people that have,
Rainbow Mafia.
Yeah, the Alphabet and the Rainbow Mafia. And they were the ones that every time people would be on the app next door saying, hey, this homeless person broke into my house and stole all this stuff, or hey, this homeless person is they're accosting people. They would be the ones that were, oh, well, how would you like it if you were homeless? Maybe show some compassion. These same motherfuckers are now screaming that they want the homeless out of their neighborhoods. And they were also very anti-gun. Now they're talking about that they can't find guns to buy to protect themselves. The same people
who fucking
neighborhood that Steve and I used to live in are now whining and crying, and Steve and I are laughing. We're like, you pissed your bed, now you can lie in it.
You want to know how safe California used to be? This is how safe California used to be. When I was a little kid, my brother I can still remember walking and holding his hand. The oldest one of us that went down there was 8. I think I was like 4 and my other brother was like 6. And we would hold hands and we would walk from the trailer park across where the railroad tracks have been stolen for scrap metal. A couple more blocks across those railroad tracks, a couple more blocks, and we would buy ice cream. We'd buy little push-up pops for a nickel, and we would go down and play at the beach all day and then walk back as the streetlights were coming on. And nothing happened to us. 3 little blonde boys. Nothing happened to us. That's how safe.
I remember that when I was growing up.
California was that safe.
Ishi and Kat will probably. Oh wait, no, you would remember this. Even as parts of San Diego started getting sketchy in the 90s, one of the safest neighborhoods you could still walk around by yourself in was Hillcrest. 2 o'clock in the morning, you could be a woman out by yourself walking your dog. Nothing would happen to you. Like that's why Hillcrest became a really popular neighborhood for the elderly to move to, because the LGB community that was there looked out for the elderly and looked out for everyone. And they weren't crazy like people are today. They were very cool.
California was so safe. In the shitty trailer park I lived in, the teenage girls would lay out there and sunbathe naked on those fucking foldable lawn chairs that beat Snoopy's ass.
Oh, I love those lawn chairs.
Yeah, they would lay out there naked with suntan oil on them. and nothing would happen. Nobody cared. It was that fucking safe.
Okay, so the law she's referencing is a law to enforce parents would force parents to get their kids gender affirming care.
Oh, you
Well,
guys
like
don't
my
live in
wife keeps saying.
California, so you guys haven't been seeing the news. There has been fucking crazy ass protests against this to the point that people are starting to get scared, not on the normal side. So there was a huge protest where Muslims, atheists, and Christians band together to protest about this out in front of their state representative's house and
they brought
also
in
their government
Antifa.
building.
And they brought in Antifa.
And Antifa got their ass kicked. That people were saying you done fucked up if you got Muslims, Christians, and atheists to band together against you. That's what's happening right now in California.
Good.
The gays against groomers are doing double time here in California. When the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence were brought back to that stupid fucking Dodgers game, the Catholics came out of the woodwork and blocked the streets. Nobody could get into the stadium because
Good.
people have fucking had it. Here in California, even here in Temecula, is the same things happening in Temecula. In Glendale, the Armenian Americans were so mad when they brought Antifa in, they beat the shit out of Antifa and drove them back.
You do know that they're doing an action call all over Twitter and bringing them in from as far away as Chicago and New York for this weekend.
Yeah, here's the thing about California. I'm saying there are pockets of resistance. I live in one of those neighborhoods and the people are fighting back and it's not going to be pretty.
Well, the big thing is the state of California is now saying that we own your kids.
Fuck you do.
I mean, they've come out and they basically come out and said that, you know, they act like, here's what pisses me off about this whole we own your kids. I have to raise the kid. I have to feed the kid. I have to clothe the kid. I have to make sure the kid goes to school. If the kid fucks up, I go to jail, but I can't punish the kid. I can't guide the kid. I can't teach the kid. And if I object to what they're being taught in school, you say I'm a crazy person when I take my kid out of school. I mean, I fucking hate it. And I'm getting tired of hearing, well, you're going to trust the experts? Oh, you mean the same experts that told me the anthrax shot was safe? Oh, you mean the same experts that gave me the influenza Gen 0 shot? Oh, you mean the same experts that gave me the Gen 0 chickenpox shot? Oh, you mean the same experts that told me the little white pills were safe? Oh, do you mean the same experts that told me Gulf War syndrome wasn't real? Yeah. Oh, do you mean the same experts that, no, trust the experts. Trust the experts hired by the government. Fuck you. You're asking me to trust the doctors hired by the tobacco industry. Go fuck yourself.
I want to point out something else too. The kids in the schools are fighting back.
Oh yeah.
They're wearing, instead of wearing the pride colors, they're wearing red, white, and blue. Their kids are saying that their pronouns are USA.
Well, that's because they didn't celebrate Memorial Day.
Go ahead, Routes.
And what I hate is if you object to what's going on, they automatically say you hate gay people. Okay, I don't hate gay people. I don't hate gay people because they're gay. Every gay person I've disliked is because they were a shitty fucking person. If they were straight, they'd still be a shitty person. And I hate the fact that I can't dislike somebody anymore without it being about their sex or their race. It's like, I can hate somebody because I don't like the way they part their hair. It has nothing to do with their race, whose dick, whether or not they smoke a pole or lick a hole. It doesn't fucking matter. I don't like them based on their personality and their actions. I judge you on your actions, on your deeds. And if I say, oh, I don't like this person, and you come, well, we don't like him because he's black. Well, it has nothing to do with he's black. I don't like him because he fucking raped a goat right in my front yard. We don't like him because he's black. Ugh. Or I don't like that woman. Well, you don't like her because she's gay. I don't like her because she shit on my front porch and threw a brick through my window during a meth psychosis. No, you don't like her because she's gay. I hate this shit. I hate it that you can't dislike a person if they have any certain qualities because that means you're ist. Oh, and I'm going to say it. I'm not afraid of gay people. I'm not afraid of immigrants. I hate this phobe added to it.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of people. I don't like them. I am fine with gay people. I don't give a shit. Okay, don't rub it in my face. You know, I'm not allowed to finger my wife in public. You're not allowed to wave your strap on around. Okay, if they brought back the public decency laws and fucking applied them, a lot of this shit would be solved.
Yeah.
I mean, and have some fucking self-respect. Oh, and for fuck's sake, wash your fucking ass and wear some clean clothes. Okay, and a tattoo and a fucking flag patch is not a substitute for a personality. Okay? Holy fucking shit. You know, oh, what do you like? You know, and then they rattle off a bunch of shit, and I'm like, well, what do you like? And they rattle off the same fucking list, and it's like, what?
You're talking about NPCs.
I mean, you know, and they talk about people don't have an internal monologue, and I'm like, how is that possible? My brain didn't shut up until I took my first TBI. You know, oh, I was so fucking happy. I woke up in the hospital. I was like, holy shit, it's quiet in here. And then I find out that, you know, people don't have an internal monologue, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I watch people get updates to their programming, and I'm like, 3 days ago, you were saying exactly the opposite of what you were saying. And when I was saying what you're saying, you called me a fucking fascist. No, I didn't. Yeah, you did. No, I didn't. You can watch them update in real time. Fuck, I've actually seen somebody blue screen of death in real life.
Yes, I have too.
I've seen it too.
None of us should have, but we do.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody, and they're like, well, you need to trust the doctor. I said, you mean the same doctors that gave me the anthrax shot? And you can see them. They just stood there. And I was like, my first thought was like, did he just have a stroke? Because he just stands there for a minute. And he goes, we need to trust the doctors. I went, the same doctors that said Gulf War syndrome wasn't real?
Okay. We've got Dominic Powell, Undead Quinn, and Neostar have all said similar comments here. And I'm just going to state your comments about, moral relativism and postmodernism, intersectionality being poison, and accountability and all. That is one of the reasons I fucking wrote Boobs of Steel, believe it or not, because as bizarre as it may sound, it is fucking related. And this book, if you read my fucking book, it'll give you all the ammo you need to tell people to go screw themselves when they say that's offensive, and you can tell them exactly why they're fucking wrong.
Whenever somebody says,
so
why is it
tired.
offensive? Ask them, go why?
Yeah.
Go ahead, you know.
Okay, no, there's a new offensive out there. You guys are going to fucking trip. Okay, I wanted to talk to you guys about this yesterday. I completely forgot. So you guys have heard the term natalism and antinatalism, right?
Yeah, it's people who hate babies.
Yeah. Okay. So now, the people who are antinatalist, or they say natalism is just as bad as systemic racism and misogyny, because let me tell you the story that I read from this fucking opinion blog that like made my brain go inside out.
Stop reading up crazy people.
Oh, I had to see the crazy. Like, you guys know me, I'll torture myself. So this bitch was saying that the world only applies to natalism because most people have kids, and it's not fair for people that don't have kids because it's offensive that they don't have spaces for people who don't have kids. She said some people don't have kids because of choice and others because they physically can't. And then she went on her what was supposed to be her sob story that she can't have kids, and
because she got her womb scraped too many times, and now it's haunted.
Oh, no, she had endometriosis. But her
that's
whole
terrible.
thing that it is terrible, but the thing that really pissed me off was if she wanted kids so bad, why isn't she fucking adopting?
Yes.
Because she wants to be a fucking victim. I'm like, do you know how many kids would be grateful to have a parent, just a foster parent that's not crazy, or an adoptive parent? But oh no, this bitch just
crazy.
wants to be a victim. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, I'm like, I know couples who don't have kids either by choice or because they physically can't. And these same couples, just real quick, these same couples can't either, they can't adopt either. And so, but they're not sitting there reeing because the world is quote unquote natalist. And
Well,
it's unfucking believable.
Antinatalism started in the 1960s with the stop having kids because we're killing the earth and there won't be enough resources to support 6 billion people.
and they've never been right.
You know
Ever.
what? I wish that I could have had more than one kid. I couldn't have any more after Chris.
Me and my wife
But
were going
to
to have
piss off
8.
the environmentalists, I would have pumped out 3 or 4 more. No problem.
Me and my wife were going to have 8, and she had a heart attack. So, and you always hear, oh, it's so hard. If I hear this all the time from these women that are screeching and everything, and like, oh, it's so hard to get it. It's so hard to get your tubes tied. It's so hard to get your tubes tied. And maybe it is, but my wife went in. They're always like, oh, I have these medical issues. I have these medical issues, and they won't let me have one. Okay, the U.S. military is very strict on who gets their tubes tied and who doesn't. I mean, there's all these rules. My wife went in and said, I had a heart attack when I was having a baby. And they looked at her medical records and they looked at her and said, come in on Tuesday. That's it. They cut her tubes right there because she had a heart attack. And I'm like, how hard is it to get your tubes tied?
Actually, it's not that hard anymore.
We're talking, that was in the 90s. My sister went in the 90s and like, I want my tubes tied. And they're like, why? And she goes, because I'm so fertile. If my husband walks by with an erection, I'm pregnant. I have 6 kids. And the doctor went, oh shit, let's hook you up coming Tuesday.
No, because of this gender affirming crap, and also this whole like, I don't ever want to have kids because kids are parasites. They're doing hysterectomies now at a drop of a hat.
Well, good. Yeah. If these people want to take themselves out of the gene pool, good. Once they throw away your Funko Pops and delete your social media, you will cease to exist. Goodbye, Felicia. Thank you for playing. Come again.
I got to admit, I'm okay with commies sterilizing themselves.
Oh, me too. Wolf, natalism is that people have children and it's a burden to the planet and it's offensive to other people because
that's antinatalism.
Oh, that's antinatalism. Yeah. Okay, natalism is that
I love babies.
According to these people, you are selfish because you want to have tons of children and burden the rest of the world with them because you want to sit on an airplane and have it be quiet, or you want to go to a restaurant and you want it to be quiet. Oh, and why is that playground there when it could be a safe space for X, Y, and Z?
Oh, Janelle, you're going to love this.
Oh, boy.
You're going to love this. They found out something that may link. You know how a lot of people show autism syndromes, but they're not autistic genetically? Mm-hmm. They found out, and this study got memory hold hard. I can't find the fucking thing. I even followed the old links. They did a study and found out something. Women who have just given birth emit a pheromone for up to a year that the baby gets breathing and breastfeeding that is critical to cognitive development. Without this, certain parts of their brain won't develop.
Oh, shit. My milk dried up when Chris was 4 months.
Did you go back to work?
No.
If you hold the baby and everything else and do a lot of skin-to-skin contact and spend time with the baby, that's where it inhales the pheromone.
Okay,
if he's got it genetically, you're just congratulations, you pulled a bad card in the lottery.
No, he's got it genetically because my dad had ADHD and now we're pretty sure it was autism. I'm actually pretty sure I have autism because I also got diagnosed with OCD, which that's all in the spectrum.
But this thing got memory hold so hard. And I'm like, why did they memory hold it so hard? And my wife goes, well, that's because they don't want anything to stop women from going back to work.
No, it was, no, Raltz, I know what you're talking about because it was called refrigerator mother syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I read that.
It's critical. It's fucking critical. And what's funny is, it was weird is, I don't know what they're teaching kids nowadays. Okay, I went to a white trash high school, okay? I went to a white trash high school, then I went to a country high school. And I took home ec, mainly because that's where all the girls were. And I had this strategy. Mm-hmm. I would take home ec right before lunch so I could make my lunch. And it worked great. But they would stress in us how important it was that the baby got skin-to-skin contact, right? Mm-hmm. That it's vital. And I talk to parents nowadays, and they were never told that, hey, if the baby's crying and you can't figure it out, there's 2 things you should do. You should take the Burt stuff and you should smear it all over their skin because, believe it or not, because they're growing so fast, a baby's skin can be too tight for a few hours, and it's just this, and it helps calm their little nerves down because their nerves are super sensitive. The other thing is You strip the baby down to the diaper, and unless you don't worry if the baby pees and poops on, if you don't care, strip it all the way down if that's better. Take your shirt off and lay there with the baby, and they'll stop crying if there's nothing else really wrong within like 2 minutes. They don't teach this anymore.
No, they don't.
Actually, you know what? We had a good teacher when I was going to Lamaze class. She was absolutely adamant that if we can, do not have a cesarean section. That skin to skin contact is important. Now, unfortunately, Chris was too giant for me, so Chris had to come out. It's cesarean.
Oh, what's wrong? You didn't want blown out?
Well, they lost his heartbeat. It turned out that he was so big that he was bungee jumping on his umbilical cord. So he kept trying to, move down the canal and kept getting yanked back up. So he was 9 pounds, 13 ounces, 22 inches. My child was giant. But
my kids are all 9.
I kept telling them, I'm like, give him to me. And they're like, we have to sew you up first. But the moment they sewed me up and they had me clean and ready to go, boom, he was in my arms. I took down my gown and I had skin to skin contact. And for the first year of his life, I wore tank tops. So we would be skin to skin.
It's so weird because people say, people are like, oh, I didn't get a hold of my baby for an hour. My wife had all 3 of our kids in military hospitals. And I still remember they yanked my second daughter out and she's all covered with blood and goop. And before that, the doctor's like, okay, the baby's about to come out. And the nurse looks at me and goes, take off your shirt. So I take off my shirt. And this baby is covered in goop. And she hands me the baby and goes, now hold it tight to your chest and come up and follow me. Because the baby needs to hear your heartbeat. I mean, apparently everybody's like, they did what?
Yeah.
And they were like, didn't the goop bother you? It's like, no, it's just goop.
It's baby goop. Who cares?
And
I wanted Chris covered in the goop given to me right away, but they're like, you're kind of bleeding here.
You want to smear it all over your face?
So yeah, I was hella impatient. And the moment I got him, it was like the greatest moment of my life. And Steve did the same thing. He would take his shirt off at home and Chris would lay on his chest. Yeah. And a lot of times, we co-slept with Chris, but Chris would sleep on Steve's chest. My boobs were too big for Chris to sleep on my chest. He would have been suffocated. But we slept together. And people are like, oh, co-sleeping is so bad for the kid. I'm like,
no, it's not.
No, parents co-slept with their kids at the beginning of time.
All right.
He's been doing that forever.
All right. Well, we're coming up on an hour and a half.
Let's keep going.
So
come on.
Do you guys want to keep going? And
I'm good.
Chris is on summer break, so I can stay up later for the next 6 weeks. But if you don't want to, Ishi, don't feel like you have to.
If you don't want to, man.
I'm kind of wearing down, but
okay.
I mean, what about you, Kat?
I'm drugged.
You're drugged? Oh, is that the deal?
Yeah.
You're drugged?
Yeah, I'm drugged. I had a bad day. So I hit the Xanax before the show.
That's like, if you want to know something why fathers are very important, it's really easy. I mean, you can do this at home if you got a guy and a girl at home. You can do this. Have the woman take off her shirt and lay on her back, and you'll notice you can't see her heartbeat. Then have the guy, even if he's got big ass pecs, take off his shirt and lay on his back, and you'll be able to see the middle of his chest move with his heartbeat. That's why babies love laying on their father's chest for the first 3 months, because they can hear the heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
They can feel it.
When I was a kid, my mom, my parents got divorced. My mom had this device that simulated a heartbeat to put under my pillow in my crib, so that I had that sound to help me to sleep.
Unfortunately, the device malfunctioned, picked up a radio station. She was raised on a nonstop string of Jethro Tull and it rattled her brain.
I didn't have Yes. I didn't have Jethro Tull. No, it was Jethro Tull and Moody Blues.
Humans are very weird. Humans are designed very weird. But yeah, I always thought it was kind of interesting because that's like, people are like, oh, how can you hold a sick baby on your chest? It's going to throw up on you. Like, they made this thing called a shower. It's fucking great.
So, it really, when people are like, oh, I don't want a kid because they're going to snot all over me or shit all over me. Like, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's actually kind of funny when you watch your kid have explosive poop
Oh God.
because they've got gas backed up and their shit flies out like a bullet. And at first you're in shock. And then you start laughing your ass off, and you're like, "That just came out of my kid's butt."
Okay, I gotta bring up something. I've been kind of binge watching Shark Tank because I find it funny. And there was one entrepreneur who comes on with this brand new revolutionary idea. It's called the cloth diaper.
Oh God!
Like, really? Yeah, that's new.
Okay.
And like, well, it'll help the environment. It's like, well, first off, no. The amount of water that's used, might as well, it's not any different than using the throwaway diapers. So
Except for throwaway diapers are still going to be in landfills 50,000 years from now.
exactly. But it was just like they were talking about it like it was this revolutionary new idea. It's like, where the fuck have you been? Everybody I've ever met, their parents used cloth diapers at one point.
My daughter was like 6 months old and she had a stomach ache, and I was holding her and comforting her and everything. My wife took a shower, and I put her down because she was asleep. I told my wife, "Hey, I got to go to work," and it was a Class A inspection day. And I get there and I hustle out to formation, and Sergeant Major's walking through. He's looking at everybody's Class A's, dress uniform, and he looks at me. He's like, "All right," moves on, and then he's behind me, and he goes, and he asked the guy behind me, "What's that on Walter's back?" And he goes, "I don't know." He goes, "Did you see it?" "Yes." "And you didn't tell him?" "No." And he turns to me and goes, "Rolls, don't you have a newborn?" And I'm like, 6 months old, Sergeant Major. It's like, "Sick today, isn't she?" I'm like, "Yes." "How'd you know?" "Because she threw up down your back." "And who's your squad leader?"
Oh, jeez.
And he yelled at the guy behind me, and he yelled at my squad leader. And I was like, "You saw that and you didn't say anything?" My squad leader was like, "Well, there was only a few minutes." I was like, I could have brushed that off in like 30 seconds. But yeah, the Sergeant Major was like, "Got a newborn, don't you?" Yep, threw it down my back.
Yep. Honestly, like,
Wow.
I don't know how many times Chris projectile vomited down my back. I got a great one. Chris was a toddler, and he came home. There was a strain of a stomach bug going around. We're in the kitchen, and Chris is drinking his chocolate milk, and then he just kind of stops, sets it down, and he goes, "Daddy?" And just throws up and Steve, being the dad, puts his hands in a cup
Over
formation
his mouth. Oh.
underneath the vomit stream to catch it.
Yeah, I've tried to do that.
Yeah, that's just what you do as a parent. When
Yeah.
we were on the shuttle coming home from Disneyland to the parking lot, and we saw the same thing. A little girl woke up. She'd had too much sugar. It was a really hot summer day, and she started to throw up. And Mom, quicker than anything, had her hands cupped underneath the girl and caught all of her vomit.
Nice.
And then held it until they got to a stop and walked out and just like threw it on the ground. The little girl's crying. The dad's apologizing to everyone. The majority of the people on the shuttle all had kids. We're like, we've all been there. We've all caught throw up at one point or another.
My sister-in-law was pregnant, and my wife was pregnant at roughly the same time. They gave birth like a week apart, but they both went into false labor, and it was 38 miles to the hospital we're using, and so it's on base, and we jump in the car, and it's like, I think 11 o'clock at night on a fucking Wednesday, and I'm just hauling ass up the I-5. And I mean, I've got this Datsun B210 wound the fuck out, and of course, that's when the state patrol sees me, and they pull me over, and they're both going because they're in sync, and I'm like, "Fuck, just kill me." And the cop comes up and taps on my window, and I roll it down. He's like, "You know how fast you were going?" My sister-in-law screams, "Oh, fuck, I think it's coming." And my wife yells, "I don't care how fast he was going, you inbred dumbass." And he shines the flashlight, and he sees that in the back seat, I've got 2 9-month pregnant women with their legs open, crotches exposed. And he looks and he goes, "Are they in labor?" And I'm like, "I think so." And he's like, "Where are you going?" I'm going to Madigan Army Hospital. He goes, "I'll go with you."
Oh, nice. You got a police escort.
He had the lights and sirens on all the way to the gate. I pull up to the gate. The guy comes out. He goes, "I need to see ID." And my wife screams, "You need to see this fucking ass! Get out of the way, stupid!" And he shines the flashlight, and he goes, and he starts yelling, "Go, go, go, go!" He's motioning for him to lift it up, and I hear him go, "Holy fuck, there's 2 women in labor." And then we get there, and they had him there. They didn't want him to give birth yet, so they managed to get the labor stopped and send him home. But holy fuck, the look on that cop's face when he shined the flashlight in the back seat and sees 2 pregnant women. That shit was great.
Look, you don't fuck with a pregnant woman who's in labor. You don't.
Oh, I covered myself in glory a week later. My wife goes into labor. There's actually labor, water broke. And I've got it all planned. I've got the go bags, the car's packed, and my brother's going to come with me just in case. And so we go run. I go, okay, we're ready to go. And we throw the bag in the car. Me and my brother jump in, and we race off. I'm like, okay, I got to eat gas. And we drive 12 miles and stop at the gas station. I jump out, and I'm like, okay, we're paying for I'm like, fuck, I don't have my wallet. My wife's in labor, right? I know the chick at the AM/PM. I went to school with her. And she looks outside, and she goes, your wife's in labor? I'm like, yeah. She looks again, and she goes, so where is she? And I look at my brother's pumping the gas, and I look at the car. I go, "Hey, JT, is she in the car?" And he looks at the car, looks at me, goes, "Oh fuck, we forgot her." Oh shit! And we drive back. My wife's laying on the kitchen table. And my sister-in-law was like, "Okay, it's starting to crown. I guess we're gonna have it when those 2 idiots drove off."
Wow.
Covered myself in glory.
I've got one. This isn't as good as yours, but it's still amusing. This was when my mom had me. So my mom's water broke in the middle of the night, and they're on a waterbed. And my mom wakes up my dad, and she's like, "Hey, wake up, my water broke." So my dad panics, struggles to get out of the bed. It's hot in the house, so he was sleeping naked that night, and he's running around the house, and she's like, "Get me a towel." And he runs down the hallway, butt ass naked, stops, turns around, runs back, and says, "What color do you want?"
Yes. Our brains fucking shut off. I think my sister,
Any fucking color, just get me a towel.
my sister-in-law
That was
goes
my
into
birth, guys.
my sister-in-law goes into labor, so we get her out to the car, make sure she's in the car, driving up there. She's in the back. She's like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh," and I hear he's like, and then I hear this slap. Wham! I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And she was like, "Wow, I was only in labor for 22 minutes." My wife goes, "I should reach around and punch you in the face."
Oh my God, what a lucky woman. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. Oh, I had to replace the back seat of that car.
Oh, I can imagine.
Because it was summer, it was spring, and by summertime that seat stunk.
Oh,
but yeah, we pull into the hospital, and they come rushing out, and she's like, "Oh no, I already had the baby." It's like she had it in the back seat of a Datsun B210 on I-5.
Wow.
It's like,
I envy women that have short labor, because I was in labor for 36 hours, and a friend of mine was only in labor for 7.
She was in labor for 22 fucking minutes.
I hate her.
Jesus.
And I was like, my God, how big is my brother's fucking dong? Because that baby just slid right out. Fuck. The next kid was the longest labor she had at 38 minutes.
38
What?
minutes. Wow.
Yeah, she went into labor. My brother's like, "I'll call the ambulance. You lay on the floor." Time the ambulance got there, fucking kid was already born.
Jesus.
Yeah, she's sitting there breastfeeding.
Seriously envy him.
Fuck. So my brother called me. Okay, the baby's out. There's still a cord going in there. What do I do? I said, wait till the fucking placenta to pass. I said, first, you got some dental floss? He's like, yeah. I'm like, tie off the umbilical cord with the dental floss, get the scissors and cut it. And he's like, okay, it's not going to shoot blood everywhere. I said, well, if you don't tie it off with the dental floss, the baby's going to deflate like a balloon. He's like, oh my God, really? I'm like, no, you dumbass. Like, for fuck's sake.
Wow.
Oh
my brother, Mr. goes, my brother, Mr. Cold as Ice, goes to Afghanistan like 5 times. His wife's having a baby in the front room floor. He is completely losing his fucking mind. Oh my God, the baby is covered in blood and goo. Is there something wrong with it? It's not breathing. I'm like, okay, turn it upside down and swat it on the ass. Okay, now it's screaming. I said, yeah, because you slapped it. Give the baby to her. There's still the umbilical cord going up in there. How do I get it out? I'm like, you don't. You wait for them to say. I was like, holy shit, you've seen a cow give birth, but she's not a cow. No shit.
Oh my
Oh
god.
man, and the motherfucker has a master's degree.
No, I think it is, and the brains of the dads do shut off. Very much so.
Like fuck.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I've got nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
I'm a bastard.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh god, the worst birth I was ever there for. She kept kicking me in the face. I was on the medevac flight with her in the fucking in the Black Hawk, and something went wrong because it went kapow, pops going ging, and then ging ging ging. The fucking crew chief goes, "You guys might want to hold on."
Oh.
So we laid on top
you
of her.
hear.
We land, and I love the crew chief. He goes, "Okay, who here has ever lived on a farm?" And I'm like a dumbass, I raised my hand. He goes, "Okay, you're in charge, champ." And I'm like, "Oh fuck!" And she's looking at me, and she's like, have you ever seen anything gross? And I was like, yeah, like cows. And she goes, do you know what you're doing? I'm like, no. Do I have you get on all fours? And she kicked me in the face. She's like, do I look like a cow to you?
But actually, for some women, it's easier for them to be on all fours when they give birth. There's all sorts of weird ass positions you can get into.
I poured wild turkey on her crotch.
Hey, that works.
The kid had a party while it was coming out.
Oh man, she's guzzling wild turkey because we got no painkillers. We're in the middle of a field.
That works.
I'm like, I see hair. Of course you see hair. No, it's not your hair. It's hair. I was like, I think your pussy's a loss. She kicks me in the face.
Wow.
God.
It was, fuck. I gave her the baby. I'm like, and then I get the placenta comes out. And she goes, what's wrong? I'm like, well, you're not going to like the next part. And she goes, well, what's the next part? I'm like, you've got to eat the placenta. She kicks me in the face. Are you fucking stupid?
Like, no.
So I poured more whiskey on her crotch and put a bandage on it.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Oh God, I felt, and she was always like, I love her boyfriend. I don't know if I'm comfortable with you having seen my girlfriend's crotch and had your hands on it. It had a baby coming out of it. It is the least sexiest thing I've seen in my life.
Look, this did not give me a boner, sir.
No.
I will say that women also get incredible amounts of strength. So I never I didn't freak out while I was in labor or anything like that. I think because I was just exhausted. But I do have my mom and my dad again. My mom was having one hell of a contraction, and she turned to my dad,
Will you hold
grabbed
my
his
hand?
belt buckle, lifted him off the ground, and said, "You motherfucker, you did this to me."
My wife did something worse. She looked at me and her eyes got all wide and sparkly and her lower lip trembled and she held out her hand and she goes, will you hold my hand? And like a complete retard, I fell for it.
You asshole!
Yeah. Oh man.
So that's what really happens. Women get enraged at the man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know. It's like the women forget that, we were a part of it too. But it's your fault.
They'll get like this sense of euphoria and it's like better than drugs and suddenly they love everybody in the world.
Yeah.
So, it all balances out.
I got a piece. Go ahead. Go. Sorry, Kat.
I was just going to say, I don't have any like amazing stories. I just have the one my mom tells, which is, she said that she wanted to put in 8 hours of work and then she wanted time and a half. And I was born in 8 hours in like 10 minutes. So
I'm going to give a piece of advice to everybody out there who has a pregnant girlfriend or wife or is going to, or maybe just a really close friend. If you really want to be a hero when she's about 6 months, 7 months, and it's really starting to get to her, you ask her permission. Don't do this without permission. Okay. You're a weirdo. You step up behind them. You put your hands underneath their belly, right where there's like the 45-degree angle of the belly and then the bottom, up at the top of the crotch. Shift your hands up a couple inches and then have them lean back against you and you slowly lift. You slowly lift until you can feel you've got about 20, maybe 30 pounds in your hands. And then tell them, okay, breathe nice and deep. and you let them breathe for like a minute or so, and then don't drop it. You slowly lower it down until your hands come free naturally, and let them stand back up. You will have taken all that baby weight off of them for however long you were carrying them, and they will love you forever. Especially like the 9th month when you're doing that. But don't just yank the belly up, weirdo.
Chris was actually 2 weeks late, so I mean, and I couldn't fit behind the steering wheel of my car with the seat all the way fucking back. That's how big my child was in my belly. Like it was unfucking. I sent you guys pictures when I was 7 months pregnant, and I already looked 9 months pregnant, and I was swollen as hell. I had cankles because Chris was so fucking big. But
human beings are weird.
Yeah,
human beings are really weird. That's like I've always been able to reliably tell if a woman's about to give birth soon, if I can see her belly and her belly button sticking out and it's purple.
It's like a turkey.
Yes,
it's popped.
Yep, it's like you got about 2 weeks left. And of course, then there's the fun thing where you dream it's raining, only the rain's warm, and you open your eye and her breasts are over pressurized and squirting milk on you in your sleep.
Yep.
Oh, I don't care about any of that mess. It's like it's normal.
No, I woke up a couple of times to like having like, oh, I'm swimming or it's raining, and it's nope, I need to go pump.
That friend of mine that I delivered her baby, well, she became a really good friend of mine afterwards. But she would come up to me, I'd be in my room, and she'd be talking to me, and she'd like, hey, you got something on your neck, and she'd pull down the collar of my shirt, and what I wouldn't know is she'll have pulled her tit out, and she'd lean forward and then drool breast milk down my back.
Oh,
I'd be like, God damn it, bitch. She did that. She used to do that to me and piss me off. I was like, if I turn around, I swear to God, I'm gonna slap that tit. I'd be like, what's this on my neck? Oh, God damn it. She just bust up laughing.
I think the greatest feat that I ever did while breastfeeding Chris was I figured out how to balance him and play Mass Effect 3.
There you go.
So he'd be feeding, and I'd
just be wait. How did you not give birth out of rage playing Mass Effect 3?
He was born before Mass Effect 3. But no, when I'd be feeding him in the middle of the night, I would put the belly pillow down, and then I'd put him down. I'd plop out my boob and kind of have him resting in the crook of my neck, and I would play Mass Effect 3. Good thing I wasn't breastfeeding him when I got to the ending, though. He might have gone flying.
Yeah, I'm surprised your milk didn't curdle.
Her boyfriend used to get so pissed off because he'd come looking for her, and she'd be up in my room breastfeeding. I'd be sitting there smoking a cigarette and doing training plans or doing whatever. And she would tell him, look, he doesn't think I'm sexy because the last time he saw my cunt, it was covered in blood and like 4 inches wide. Well, I'm not comfortable with him seeing your breasts. And she'd be like, I don't have anywhere else to breastfeed. Well, can't you like breastfeed in the bathroom? And she's like, no. She actually broke up with that dumbass because of that shit.
Good for her.
What the hell?
Because she was like, do you think I'm sexy? I'm like, no. I'm like, I love you like a sister, but the last time I saw that thing, it looked like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
There was a comedian who said that it looks like a Saint Bernard trying to come in through the cat door.
Yes.
Yes. I actually did get to watch somebody I knew give birth, and it did look like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but then as the baby's head was coming through, it stopped looking like that, and I was like, oh, fuck. How the hell can that fit?
When those shoulders come, it's not the head that's the problem. It's the shoulders.
It's the shoulders.
See, this is shit you're never going to get in biology class.
No. Oh, I'll tell you one thing. I had to drive my daughter to the ER because she was in labor. And it was a stormy night, and we're driving there, and there's fucking trees down and shit. And I'm like, I swear to fucking God, if I have to deliver this fucking kid, I'm going to fucking shoot myself. But we got to the hospital, like, oh, thank God. And, then it turned out to be false labor. She goes, oh, it's false labor. I was like, okay. And she's like, what were you mumbling in the seat the whole time? What were you up there mumbling about? Because I had her lay in the back seat. And I'm like, I was just telling myself, if I got to deliver this baby, I'm going to shoot myself. And she was like, well, that's the whole reason I wanted to ride with you, because you've delivered babies before. I'm like, yeah. And then I'd shoot myself. Fuck. I mean, that kid's great. I mean, that's, and the antinatalists are all, oh, it's unnatural, and oh, do you know what it does? This is what gets me. The antinatalists that are like, and the
reproduction is unnatural, huh?
Yes. Oh yeah. They will tell you all of these isolated fucking cases, that there's like a handful of cases in history, and act like it's the norm. They're like, oh, it completely rips open every woman between the vaginal canal and the anus, and it's like, no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It does now and then, or if the doctor's dumb enough to cut at the bottom.
Yeah, and if it tears, like the birth that I saw, the woman tore because the shoulders, but it wasn't that big of a tear. It only took 2 stitches to stitch her back up. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
That's actually common, and it's not fucking awful.
No.
Well, they act like all this. They're antinatalists, and they're like, oh, 90% of women end up with incontinence. No, they don't. I mean,
they don't.
If women were as fragile as antinatalists act, we would have died out.
Yeah, no, I didn't have incontinence. I had the exact opposite. In fact, the way Chris sat on me caused my nerves to make my bladder always feel like I had to pee, but I couldn't pee because the nerves were constantly cramping up. So imagine feeling like you have to pee all the time and you can't go.
I'm curious, ladies, what do you think of all this? Does this make you more excited for kids or less? Seriously, I'm just curious.
It's never been in the cards for me, but that's me as a person, So, yeah.
Plus a gray alien and a human woman.
No, that's not going to really work, is it?
No, that big head, I'd have to.
Oh, God, poor cat.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ, they have
to be blown open.
3 or 4 mercy stitches in that, Doc. Christ.
I was gonna say, it would be like that scene in Species when the woman gives birth and the belly explodes out. Oh, Species 2.
It would be like when Jim Carrey came out of the rhino's house.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, it would.
I am a sick human being. That's actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
That's pretty funny.
It is a pretty
funny. I'll give it to Jim Carrey. I mean, he's got his moments. I just when he was in everything, I just liked it. But I'm gonna say, I love him in the Sonic movies because his chewing the scenery shit and overacting just works.
I haven't seen them yet.
My granddaughter loves him.
Long Leg Larry, yes. 98% of birth is pooping. That's true, because when the baby's coming down the birth canal, it's also pressing on your colon.
There is no room for anything else.
Yeah, and
they tend to give enemas when you get to the hospital.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah,
they do.
Poop.
Yeah,
they do now.
That happened with my mom, where she had an enema.
Huh. It seems like that would just be more stuff to shoot out.
Yeah, the idea is to purge so that it's not. To try to make as sanitary as possible an environment for the new baby. Yes.
That baby's got an immune system of a tank.
Well, that baby's been floating around in their own shit for God knows how many months. So
their own shit and vomit and piss. Yeah,
that's not true. They don't poop. If they poop in the. That's why my wife had to have a C-section. Is because my oldest daughter, she pooped. And they had to yank her out immediately. They don't poop. They don't pee. It all flows in and out of the umbilical cord. The embryonic fluid is mainly for cushioning and for breathing. And yeah, they don't poop. If they poop in the embryonic fluid, they cut you right open.
Interesting.
Oh, Wolf, incontinence means that you cannot hold it when you have to go pee, and it just starts leaking.
Or you shit everywhere.
Yeah, your bladder muscles or the muscles of your colon and your anus have weakened and things just start dripping out or just slide right out.
Your butthole will get more damaged from anal sex than it will from having a baby.
Yeah.
That's another one that blows my mind is they're like, oh, your anus will be damaged if you have a baby. It's not coming. What?
You're not giving birth through your anus.
There, try popping that through your cooch.
What the fuck?
Sorry.
Oh God. Yeah. That cooch is gonna be blown out. Oh man, that's terrible. Oh, but speaking of which, I want to send you something via email real quick.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Let's see. I'll send it to Kat because she asked me if I was gonna, join you guys this evening. Let's see, where is it? God damn, it's on my desktop, I think. I saw this in my downloads folder that has like 9,000 pictures, and I immediately thought of you. And you can show it on the stream. So, okay, here it comes.
Ooh.
But yeah, you can show it on the stream. It should be funny.
Amazon sent me Kindle royalties. Yay.
Yeah, same here. And it's like, yay. It's like I'm not paying. Part of me is like, paying taxes right now feels like I'm being robbed.
I agree.
I'm really angry about having to pay taxes because, I mean, look at where the money's going. It's like I'm sick and tired of some grifter coming up and jamming his hand in my pocket because he wants another rifle. Nobody gave me a rifle. I don't get free guns.
The email seems to have come in blank.
There should be an attachment.
Forward it to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna forward it to Ishi, but I don't see an attachment.
Yeah, it says one attachment.
Forward
Scan my
it to me.
Gmail.
I'm sending it to Ishi.
Oh, and for everyone who's listening, I will be on Yang's show tomorrow at 8 o'clock
there it is.
Pacific, or 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, to talk about Boobs of Steel.
There was a second one, and it has the attachment. And I just see little Kermit legs.
Yeah, wait till you take a look at it.
Okay.
Hitman Wanderer says porn stars have a high case of incontinence. The more
well,
you
yeah,
know.
that's because they're getting popped up the ass for like an hour.
Or double penetration.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't want to think about that.
Oh my God.
DVDA. I need to watch that movie again.
Wow.
That was fantastic.
It's a gray alien twerking.
I love the dude.
The guy in the corner crying.
I saw that in my old folder, and I was like, okay, if you would love that.
That's amazing.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, property taxes are why I left the West Coast, because they were they first they're like, oh, we need more money for the school. It's like, okay, and then they're like, the next year they're like, we need more money for the school. It's like, okay, and then it leaked that the school administration was making between $1 million and $2 million a year.
Yep.
Not the teachers, but like the school district head and everything. And it's like, and then they're like, oh, we need more money for the school. And I'm like, and then it leaked that they wanted more money for the school so everybody could get a $200,000 a year raise. And I was like, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, half of California's budget goes to the schools, and yet they have the shittiest schools in the country.
Yeah, I was going to say, none of that money goes to the schools unless it's a pet project to virtue signal. The schools, I know the San Diego Unified schools are falling apart. The school that Chris goes to, because it has such a small population, the California doesn't give them any money. It's like, oh, your population's small, so we don't have to give anything to you. So my son's school is, running on donations and old stuff.
When I was in California schools and when my wife was in California schools, they were considered the best in the nation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they did stuff like if you couldn't have, and I remember they did a law. They changed the law so that if you didn't have school supplies, the school had to give it to you.
Yes.
I remember that. That caused a huge stink because all of a sudden there were certain families that their parents stopped buying them stuff.
Yes. And it was families that could afford it that were doing that. That was really...
The Mexican with 3 jobs is down there at Kmart buying his kid everything they need. And the upper middle class family is sending their kid to school with nothing.
Yeah, my mom and dad made sure to stock up on school supplies for me, so I would not ever have to ask the school for school supplies.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I don't know how many times when I was working in the schools, I saw the poor families donating more to the classrooms than I saw the rich families. It was disgusting.
I mean, it blows me away that, California was safe and it was beautiful and the taxes were reasonable and the construction codes were reasonable. And I mean, it was literally the golden state.
Yeah.
People moved
Yeah.
from all over the country, not just for Hollywood, but they moved there because it was a land of opportunity.
You could
And
start
now,
over. You could
yeah.
start a fresh life. Yeah.
Within my lifetime, it has become a hobo overrun apocalyptic hellscape. And it's like, why? Why did they let that happen?
Well, we just kept voting Democrat over and over again.
Yeah,
And it's
I
like-
never understood how the Democrats got oh no, I take that back to fucking hippies. Never mind. That was a dumb thing to say.
For some reason, there was a whole class of boomers on the left who were just convinced Reagan was the Antichrist.
I am so tired
Yeah.
of hearing people say that Reagan was a shitty president and was the Antichrist. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? We had a budget surplus. Our country was doing great when Reagan was governor. Our state was doing great.
I can't
He
say
pulled
that.
the state out of the hellscape that Jimmy Carter made.
Yeah. Speaking of great mayors, they're trying to take down the statue of Pete Wilson in downtown San Diego because he was against, undocumented
border?
immigrants. Yeah, because he was tough on the border when he was the mayor of San Diego and the governor of California. So he is a bad person and his statue should be taken down. So yeah.
But
So
remember,
fucking
they've
tired
got a
of it.
statue up to Marx.
Shit, geez. Somebody
Yeah.
blow that thing up. Seriously, just run your car into it.
It's really big and it's in Seattle of all places, so they can have it because I don't know, man. I mean, Seattle, I can remember everybody talks about how Seattle's, gone downhill. But I was in like 6th grade and they took me and my brothers and a bunch of other people up to Fisherman's Wharf. Was it Fisherman's Wharf? I can't remember what it was. No, Pike. God damn it, I can't
Pike's
remember.
Place.
Pike Place, but they took us up there and there was homeless everywhere. And me and my brother got in trouble because we had gotten rolls of pennies and we were throwing handfuls of fucking pennies at the homeless. and the teacher grabbed us and gave us an ass whipping. And they tell my dad, and my dad gives us both an ass whipping. And the next year when they went to Pike's Place, we weren't allowed to go. That shit was funny.
Okay, so ADMW asks how Siege Engine's going. Well, clearly, promoting and getting Boobs of Steel ready for July 15th remains top priority, but progress on it has gone very well. Wrote quite a bit today. So
Yes.
there will be another chapter very, very soon.
Nice.
Looking forward to it.
I gotta
Actually, there'll
find.
probably 2 in very soon, but
I've got to find out if my. Not longer. I gotta find out if my editor is still alive.
Oh damn.
your what's still alive?
My editor.
Oh,
She hasn't. You start worrying about your editor when it should be payday, and you've messaged them twice saying, hey, you want to give me the invoice so I can pay you, and they haven't messaged you back.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I hope everything's okay.
So do I. I mean, I actually like her.
all right. It's 2 hours
Yeah.
of running, and we probably should call it a night now. But
Yeah.
we will be talking tomorrow night about movies, and then Thursday I'll be on Yang's show.
Oh, very cool.
And remember, buy Boobs of Steel.
Yes.
You need Boobs of Steel, and if you have any questions about what you'll find, I mean, there is a wealth of stuff. Actually, I should just get Janelle on to rant because I think she's read more than anybody.
And buy Behold Humanity.
Yes.
Yes.
Most definitely.
And okay, good night, everyone.
Just try to step on any dicks.
Yep.
Night.